Bondi told senators on Wednesday that there will be no enemies list, but then Trump posted on social media just a few hours later, naming 11 people who I guess he feels have wronged him, that if you worked for them, you can't work in his administration, including a number of people who worked for him in the last administration, including Mark Milley and James Mattis and Mark Esper.
Yeah.
I mean, does that undermine the no enemies list? That looks like something of an enemies list.
I think there's a difference between we're not going to hire certain people and we're going to prosecute certain people.
Okay.
And I think that is the distinction there. I also would argue that Trump missed a few people who we know were on that list of his personally. It becomes unrealistic at a certain point to say, I am not going to hire anybody who ever might have had an interaction with certain people or said certain things, but the Trump team has made loyalty in their terms a pretty top-mind focus as they are doing these hires. That is different than here is a list of people we are going to prosecute. Now, what the incoming Attorney General, assuming she gets confirmed, said was, we're not targeting people just because of their political party. That gives her a little bit of room on what exactly that might look like. I also don't think that Pam Bondi or Todd Blanche or Amy Bove, who all of whom have worked for Trump privately in some capacity, need to, or as a lawyer, need a list. They don't need to be handed something. I mean, he posts things like this, so people know what he wants. But I don't think those two things are the same.
Yeah, but there's also, we're not going to do it for their political beliefs, but for instance, just
Correct.
to throw an example out there, Donald Trump feels wronged by the special counsel Jack Smith.
Correct. So we're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
And I think that the political belief thing is a bit of a way of evading
It's a wiggle.
the question.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so it may not be because people are registered to a certain political party, but who they are looking at in some cases is likely to relate to their interactions with Donald Trump.
Who, you said he missed some people. Who did he miss?
I think Mike Pompeo was one of the people I was surprised.
Oh, really?
There's people he's been very angry at. I don't think he considers him an enemy, but he's been he's generally not been embracing of him and made a point of saying that he was not rejoining the administration.
Maggie Haberman, Happy New Year. Always good.